Okay, I'm going to work out a few problems from homework 43, which was page 719, numbers 27 through 48 all. I'm going to do 4 of those problems, and also the answer key will be sent along with this video so that you can see that how to do every problem in detail, and also the how to do 4 of these problems. I'm going to explain them. So here they are. The first problem I'm going to show you how to do is number 38. Okay, square root 8 times quantity root 10 plus root 2. Here's how it works. First of all, these guys are stuck by a plus sign, so this is going to be distributive property. We distribute the root 8 to both of these. Square root 8 times square root 10 is square root 8 times 10, which is square root 80. Plus square root 8 times square root 2 is square root 8 times 2 is 16. Now, good news. Holy moly, look. That guy's just regular 4. So this thing's just going to be 4. Nice. This thing is not exactly nice. So I do square root pretty, square root ugly. What's the biggest pretty number inside of 80? You might say 4 and you'd be right, but there's also a bigger number called 16. 16 times 5 is 80. So you want to choose the biggest one. It makes your work easier. Okay, so square root 16 times square root 5 is 4 root 5 plus that 4. Cha-ching. There you go. That's the answer. It's that easy, people. Okay, how about this guy? Now, this is one of the binomial squared things. And remember, I pointed this out to you last time. You do not just do this guy squared plus this guy squared. That will get you the wrong answer. Let's get the right answer by writing it out twice and foiling. That's what you do. Basically that, and now we just multiply it out. Going first times first. Square root 3 times square root 3 is 3. We've been talking about that, right? Square root 9, or number that times by itself to get 3 times number that times by itself to get 3 gives you 3. Okay. And then on the outside, positive times positive is positive. Square root 3 times 8 is 8 root 3. Okay. Inside's the same thing. Look, positive times positive is positive. 8 times root 3 is 8 root 3. And then finally last is positive times positive is positive. 8 times 8 is 64. And it just so happens that 3 and 64 add up to 67. Plus 8 root 3 and 8 root 3 is 16 root 3. And believe it or not, cha-ching. Okay, this one, we did an example kind of like this one last time. Okay, it's also squared, so it's going to be, we have to write it out twice, just like we did on the other problem. 2 root 3 plus 4 root 5 times 2 root 3 plus 4 root 5. Now, here's how it works. I'm going to go, I'm still going to FOIL. First times first is going to be, watch, 2 times 2 is 4, right? Square root 3 times square root 3 is 3. This first thing is just going to be 4 times 3, which is 12, okay? Outside is going to be positive times positive is positive. 2 times 4 on the outside is going to be 8 on the outside. Square root 3 times square root 5 is root 15 on the inside, okay? Here, positive times positive is positive. 4 times 2 is 8. Square root 5 times square root 3 is square root 15. And then finally, the last one's positive times positive is positive. 4 times 4 is 16. Square root 5 times square root 5 is 5. So we have 16 times 5, which is 80. Right? And then 8 root 5 and 8 root 5 is 16. I'm sorry, I said root 5, root 15. 8 root 15 and 8 root 15 is 16 root 15. And then 12 and 80 is 92. So finally the answer will be 92 plus 16 root 5. And that is that problem. Okay? One more. This is the last one I'm doing from the homework. The rest of the problems are on the answer key that I'm sending along with this video. So here we go. Now, I have two options here. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna do it both ways. I'm gonna do it the easier way, then I'm gonna do it the harder way, just so you can see the difference. So here we go. The easier way is to say, wait a minute, square root 8 can be simplified. So I'm gonna simplify this into square root 5 on top. I'm gonna simplify this into 4 times root pretty times root ugly, okay? 8 is, the prettiest number inside of 8 is 4. The ugly number is 2. And then, of course, square root 4 simplifies to 2, so this just becomes 2. 4 times 2 is 8, root 2 on the bottom, so this whole thing becomes root 5 over 8 root 2. Now, remember the rules. We're not allowed to have radicals in the denominator. No radicals in the denominator. So we've got to get rid of that root 2 down there. The 8's not a problem. Don't worry about the 8. It's not a root. We want to get rid of the radicals. So in order to do that, we times it by itself on top and bottom. Root 2 over root 2. So we're just timesing the fraction by 1. That gives us root 5 times root 2 is root 10 on the top over root 2 times root 2 is 2. This is 2 times 8 is 16. So we get root 10 over 16. And that is the actual answer. And the 10 and the 16, even though they have a 2 in common, cannot cancel because the 10 is under a root, the 16 is not under a root. That's the answer. Now, let's do it the harder way, and then you can appreciate why this way is better. Okay? Here's the other option. Exact same problem, root 5 over 4 root 8. Now here's what you could do. If you didn't notice that there's a pretty number sitting inside of 8, so it could be simplified to 2 root 2, then you could say, well, hey, I don't want a root in the bottom, so I can multiply by square root 8 over square root 8, like that. Because you're still timesing by 1. This is correct. There's nothing wrong with this. You'll just see what happens in the end. Okay, so we get square root 40 on the top. On the bottom, I'm going to get square root 8 times square root 8 is 8 times 4 is 32 on the bottom. Okay, look, root 8 times root 8 is 8 times that 4 is 32. Now, square root 40 actually does simplify. Notice, it can be square root pretty, square root ugly. What's pretty about 40? 4. What's ugly? 10 over 30. And then remember, square root 4 is 2, right? So this thing simplifies to 2 root 10 over 32, okay? But now, look, 2 is sitting outside of the radical. 32 is down here. They both have a 2 in common. So I do need to reduce at this point. I'll reduce it. This would be a 1, this would be a 16, they each have a 2, and I get root 10 over 16, and oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! I can't believe it! Es lo mismo. Look, oh my gosh! Now the question is, would you like to get to that the shorter way, or do you prefer the longer way with canceling and all that garbage? Your choice. That's it.